Hello, I'm Todd Phillips, the editor of Canadian Auto Dealer. We're here today with Brett Morris, the chairman and co-founder of Perception Group. Now, Brett's company has a platform that helps dealerships and dealer groups make better hiring decisions using a mix of analytics and technology and to be able to predict outcomes in terms of getting the right people in place. So, Brett, thanks for joining us here today.
Hey, Todd. Yeah, great to be here. And thank you for the invite.
Well, I'm really curious to dive in a bit and understand how this technology works because, the dealership world needs to get the right people in place and doesn't always have the greatest record of retention. And sometimes that's because the wrong person may be in the wrong role. And I understand your technology really helps them improve their odds of getting the right candidate. So tell us a bit about how it works.
Yes, hugely. In fact, we've been working on developing a technology for the past 7 years that enables dealers, dealer groups, dealer management to really get a better handle on what is it about an A player that allows them to be a great sales consultant or a great service advisor or a great F&I, leasing consultant. And that enables us to get really below the skin and peel back some of the guesswork that goes on with figuring out who to hire.
And I guess so I understand that there's a set of attributes and your candidates take a very detailed test and on certain values and they match up against candidates who have similar profiles that do very well in those roles. So tell us a bit about that, the process, maybe from a dealership. If they have an applicant, what would they subject them to is probably too harsh a word. What would they ask them to do in order to be evaluated?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll back up a little bit because to get to enable that sort of a capability, and that's really what it is. It's a predictive capability. But in order to get there, we actually use dealer and dealer group data. And all these dealers and dealer groups are sitting on a goldmine of data, and every other area of their business, whether it's in inventory or workshop or in marketing, they're using data to make decisions about how to optimize the business. And the challenge for everyone is about getting better and improving. And even the best of them, in fact, particularly the best of them, are working on that. But when it comes to making decisions about people and who to hire and who to promote, the use of data is pretty almost non-existent. We use intuition, we use experience, we use gut feel. But when making, which sales consultant is going to perform better in my particular store with my particular brand, and it's that sort of forensic detail that we're able to peel back the skin on, peel back the onion, and be able to figure that out. So we take a dealer group data and we understand what is it about the attributes at scale. So we might measure 80 to 100 different attributes in a sales consultant role selling a particular brand of vehicle, be that a Toyota, a Mazda, a Mercedes-Benz, and understand in surgical detail what are the attributes that produce that performance. We're then able to codify those attributes, and there could be 10 of them, 12 of them, 20 of them, that then into what we call a performance fingerprint. And that fingerprint is then able to be applied at scale to all of the decisions that a dealer management team make about the team that they have now and the team that people that they'd like to hire. But what really gets very interesting here is that we don't just give them recommendations in terms of who's got the best potential. We're actually able to provide those that information to a dealer specifically around how many vehicles can someone sell. So if you're looking to hire a sales consultant, we're able to tell you before you hire them how many vehicles someone can sell. Was it 10, 12, 20? And that, and it's also dependent on the brand. Luxury vehicles, your expectation for a sales consultant might be 10 vehicles a month, but for a volume brand, it could be 20 a month. So it's the prediction is actually based on the quota of your particular brand for your group in your location. So it's very forensic in terms of how we go about doing that. And similarly for a service advisor, it's how many customer paid dollars per repair order are they able to produce? How many hours per repair order can you expect from a service advisor? And similarly with an F&I consultant, what sort of average gross margin per retail unit are you going to produce? So and those are the three key roles that we tend to focus on because they're the ones that really move the needle for a dealer and for a group.
Okay, so this is now in market, and dealers and dealer groups are using it. What's the feedback been from some of your clients that are embracing the technology to help, as you say, make better predictions? How's it gone so far?
Yeah, well, this is, I tell you what, this is really quite a fun part of what I do and what we do is being able to talk about this to dealers. Because when we first present them with the idea that we can predict actual, numbers of vehicles that someone can sell, it's somewhat jaw dropping. And it's almost like the look of skepticism, the depth of skepticism rises immediately. It's like, is this some sort of magic? And of course, it's not magic. It's using a complex combination of talent science that's been around for 100 plus years and data science that's been around for 300 years, and combining it in a new and a unique way using dealer data to turn it into intelligence to make these predictions. And the great thing is we can hide all of that complexity from the dealer. Um, I, I deal with a lot of different companies worldwide in lots of different industry verticals. But I've got to say, of all of those people, dealer management, dealer principals, general managers are probably the most time deficient group of individuals that I've ever, had the privilege of working with. I haven't had many that have said to me, Brett, I've just got too much time on my hands. Can you give me something else to do? It's completely the opposite. They're very hardworking, savvy individuals. And what we're able to do is to really help accelerate that by putting something into their hands that they can literally use without any training at all. So they don't have to deal with any of the complexity that goes into what we do, but what they can do is reap the reward immediately to drive. The key thing that we're trying to drive here is sales efficiency. That we think that all dealer groups have a huge opportunity to really amp up their sales efficiency and in both product sales, service sales, finance sales, that capacity to really grow, move the needle on sales efficiency is really the key piece that we're driving at in terms of delivering the capabilities that we do to dealers. And to your question, yes, we've got hundreds of installations, and we're working across North America and Asia Pacific, and the feedback from dealers is once it gets into their hands, it just makes their lives so much easier. It removes the guesswork. And as one dealer said once, he had his hands on the capability, and he saw it for his team plus new inbound applicants. He said, I thought I was in the light, but it wasn't until I saw the light that I actually realized I'd been in the dark. So yeah, it's had a tremendous impact.
Well, the other thing it can be used for, we were talking just prior to this interview, is for promotions, evaluating talent of your team for a management role, a more senior management role, and you can assess them and see if they're a good fit. So some of it, I think, is not necessarily limiting people, but it's a question of finding people that it's a good fit for the right role. So you can help figure out the success profile. Tell us a bit about how a dealership might use it in that capacity.
Yes. And I'll talk about it in respect of a dealer group. So certainly, you're able to evaluate various people for various roles. So within a dealer group, you might have an inbound applicant stream of people that are applying for roles across a variety of different multi-franchise stores. And they may be volume stores, they may be luxury stores, and so on. So we're actually able to work out using what we call multiple performance fingerprints that are role specific, brand specific, volume specific, and quota specific. Where an individual is going to play best. Are they going to be best in a volume store? They're going to be best in a luxury store. So you're able to optimize your applicant stream. And I think many dealers have had great problems, up until recently, trying to get sufficient people to apply for many jobs, particularly sales roles. I think we're going to see that improve. But then you got another issue is, and it'd be nice to have too many, but regardless of the number, you're now better able to sort those applicants regardless of their background, whatever they've done, whether they've got experience, whether they've got no experience, whether they're coming out of college, coming out of another career job, a corporate job. Can they work in my store? Can they do this particular job? Will they work well? And we're able to to really nail down that ability to do that job in a new and unique way, in a way that no one else on the planet is even close to getting close to being able to do. So these multiple fingerprints will allow a dealer group to figure out who's right person for right roles in the right stores, and within the stores, within the existing teams, who you might promote into, service management roles, sales role, management roles, and so on.
So that's a great overview, and you've given us lots of insights here. So for a dealership or a dealer principal who wants to find out more about this, or an HR manager, general manager, where do they go? What do they do? Do they go through a demo? What's the next step if they're interested in the technology platform?
Yes. I think the best step is always to get them involved with having a look at how things work. How do we do what we do? There's a lot of capabilities that go into it. So a demonstration of how the system works, how we build a watch, how we put it together, how the results are used, how you use the platform, just the ease with which you're able to operate it. Because it's also about saving your time as well and prioritizing your efforts around this whole area related to making decisions about people. And so a demonstration of how that works really gives you a good insight. And probably the best place to go is to our site, Perception Predict, one word, perceptionpredict.ai.
Okay.
Will get us, and there's a bunch of tools, and explain a video about how we do and how it works.
Well, great. Well, thanks for sharing that today. And hopefully dealers who are interested can go check that out. And yeah, it sounds like a very cool way to help increase your odds of getting the right people on your team. And I know all dealerships are really trying to get high performance teams. Even in the midst of the recovery, they're going to need even stronger sales to get things going. So thanks for joining us today, Brett.
Thank you, Todd.